LCL Report is looking for advertisers. Do you have a product, service, candidate, or charity that would love to be spotlighted? Look at our numbers. Over 250,000 views this month. Over 700 subscribers this month. Multiple awards on YouTube. Over 500 subscribers to our Facebook group. There's pretty much nothing I won't do for a good story. If you want to know about rates, just email me. So support a business that supports liberty.
Is this going to be a YouTube thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hi, welcome to LCL Report. This is Taryn Lupo reporting. This is part 2 in a series of clarifications of some laws. I went to Georgia attorney Alan Lowe, who's a civil rights attorney, to have him straighten out a couple things. This next law we're going to be talking about is the situation that just happened with the motorhome diary fellas. Do you have to show an ID to a police officer? When do you have to show an ID? If you don't know what happened, these three guys were liberty activists. They go around basically in a motorhome around the country. They get pulled over in Mississippi because they have a temporary tag. The cop checks the tag, everything comes back fine, and he's got the driver out. He says, I want to see the other two people. After everything's been checked out fine. The other two people come out, and he asks one of them for an ID. The person says, why do you need my ID? I'm just a passenger, and we've checked out. He says, I want to see your ID. And he goes, what probable cause do you have? Next thing you know, the cop gets ticked off, puts him in a chokehold, maces him in the face, and stuffs him in the cop car, and they go, and all three get arrested. So, I want to find out, because there's this misconception, I think, and this unclarification of, do you have to give an ID if a cop asks for one? Everybody seems to think you have to. I'm not really sure, so I'm going to let Alan Lowe answer it.
All right, Counselor Lowe, do I have to produce an ID if I am not driving a vehicle, or if a police officer requests it and I'm a passenger, or there's no probable cause?
Well, if there's no probable cause, then the law enforcement officer does not have the right to stop you because of the Fourth Amendment. There has to be probable cause that a crime has been committed, or a crime is in the process of being committed, before a law enforcement officer can stop you. So whether you're driving in a car or walking down the street, if there's no probable cause, then the law enforcement officer, then it's illegal for that person to stop you.
Do you actually have to produce an ID if you're not operating a vehicle or if you're a passenger?
Generally, no. Now, there are situations where there are authorized roadblocks if they're looking for a criminal, where they're stopping everyone, but they can't single you out individually because they don't like the way you look. Okay, if there's a roadblock, then they have to stop everybody.
I think the main gist here is probable cause. If an officer has probable cause, you'll produce an ID. But if he doesn't, like you get pulled over and you ask an officer, why am I being pulled over? And he doesn't give you a reason. You say, what probable cause do you have? And he hasn't figured out what to give you yet. Then you don't have to produce an ID. Or if you're a passenger, you don't have to produce an ID. Or if you're walking down the street and there's no probable cause, you don't have to produce IDs. You do not have to cooperate with the police. Now, understand in real life that this is really going to irritate a cop, and they're probably going to get very angry with you and do whatever they want anyway. They have this system where a lot of times they won't give you a reason until after they search a car and look around and you've been stuffed in a cop car, and then you pull it out of the station and then they come up with a reason why they arrested you. So, you know, that's a real breach of your rights to come up with a reason after the fact. Hopefully you've got everything on film. If you watch the first part, you should be filming any encounter you have to protect your rights. Now, the second part of this is going to be, if you do get pulled over and you do not want the police to search your car, what rights do you have? Can you refuse to consent to a search? And when are they allowed warrantless searches?
Counselor, can you refuse consent to have your car searched here in Georgia if I'm pulled over at a traffic stop? And explain to me what how they justify warrantless searches.
Okay, well, it goes back to the Fourth Amendment. First of all, there has to be probable cause to stop a vehicle, for example, and to search that vehicle pursuant to the probable cause. The police can't just stop you and search your vehicle without any cause whatsoever. The Fourth Amendment requires two things. It requires that there be probable cause to conduct a search, and it also requires that the police officer obtain a search warrant. The courts have carved out well-recognized exceptions to the requirement of a warrant. First of all, if there are so-called exigent circumstances, meaning that if the officer observes someone who is acting suspiciously or in the process of committing a crime, or who has committed a crime and is leaving the scene, or the officer reasonably believes that that person has committed a crime, then the officer is entitled to stop and search the person incident to the lawful arrest. The other well-recognized exception is the automobile exception. And the courts say that because the person who is the subject of the search can easily remove the evidence and flee the arresting officer, that the officer does not have sufficient time to go and seek a search warrant, then the officer may search the vehicle, but only pursuant to probable cause. If the officer doesn't have probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed or a traffic violation has been committed, then the officer doesn't have the right to stop you in the first place.
So if an officer pulls me over and I say, "Why are you pulling me over?" and he just won't give me a straight answer and then wants to search my vehicle, does he have to give me a reason before he can start searching? Or can he just make one up afterward?
Well, he must have a reason, whether he and legally he should give you the reason why he's stopping you. But the question is, do you have the right to refuse the consent to search the vehicle? You do not have the right to refuse consent if there is probable cause that you've committed a crime, or that you're fleeing from a crime, or that you're a material witness to a crime that has just taken place.
So you can refuse consent. You need to be very clear about it. Make sure you get it on tape. You do not consent to a search, and if they do it anyway without good probable cause, it'll get thrown out later, hopefully. But one thing you really need to do is live stream video. What I mean by that is if you have a cell phone, any sort of smartphone, you can load a program called Quick, Q-I-K, and whatever you record on this cell phone goes live out to the internet. Because with the Motorhome Diary guys, they had it on a regular camera, and the police, of course, recorded and deleted whatever was on that camera before they ever got it back. If you use Quick, you can't delete it. It goes to the internet, and a cop can't destroy the evidence. So make sure you do that. Also, I want to give Alan Lowe a plug because he did this for free. And if you have any civil rights issues, he seems like a very decent fellow when I talk to him. I'd call him up if I get in trouble. I'm sure I will. So, anyway, this is Jared Lupo with LCL Report signing off. As always, good hunting.
This edition of the LCL Report brought to you by StashYourSwag.com. This amazing ebook has over 100 secret hiding places all around your house. Most hiding places are free, but none are over $50. Remember, StashYourSwag.com.